Yo, what's going on? What's popping? What's popping? Oh, I have to talk about this shit. I have to talk about this shit. All right. Last night I was on the panel, and on the panel we was having an interesting conversation, and the conversation was about what you, as a man, what would you do for a female? And I was asked questions when it comes to different scenarios. If a female was in a scenario, like if she was in the store purchasing something, but she didn't have the money to purchase it, would I step in and spend it? You know, or would I purchase gas for a female and stuff like that? Right. And I said in these situations, well, okay, start off like that, but then I stated certain things that I would do for a female. Like, for example, let's say if I'm walking in the parking lot and I see a female trying to put something in the back of a car, and I see that she's struggling putting in the back of the car. Yeah, I'll step in and help her and assist her in that matter. Hell, I'll do that for a male. I'll do that for anybody. Or I still do things out of acts of courtesy, such as hold the door open for people. I do that for anyone, male or female, male, female, children, whatever, right? Certain things like that. And then I pointed out what's going on, men of tomorrow, what's going on. And then I spoke about how, okay, if I was in a situation and I saw a female get assaulted out in public, I'm the type of person that I'm not going to allow just her keep getting assaulted. There's something in me that's going to lead me to intervene and try to de-escalate the situation and stop that female from being assaulted. Now, when I said that, the people within the comment section of that panel started assuming that I'm talking about stepping in and fighting and beating up some guy just to protect that female. When in reality, there's more than one way to de-escalate a situation when it comes to someone being assaulted. Now, don't get me wrong. What's up? What's going on? Doug, Sexy Red TV, Degenerate Sharingan. What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all? So, in that situation, if you're an adult male, you're outside in public, and you witness an adult male just beating up on a female, right? I'm talking about just beating the crap out of her. I'm not talking about just him just smacking her and just going out of his business. But he's just really beating the living crap out of her. I don't see how males who claim to be leaders of a society is going to then turn around and say that they would not intervene to de-escalate the situation and stop the situation from happening. And even though a situation like that can be a very dangerous situation, but at the same time, being a leader, it's in itself is a dangerous situation. It's dangerous to be a leader. As we can see in times past, what happens to leaders. So just being a leader in itself is dangerous. Man, just going outside in public can be dangerous. And and I was very specific when it comes to a situation now intervening. Like if I'm outside in public and I see a male and female arguing, right? They're arguing, they're yelling back and forth. Nothing physical is happening, they're arguing. I'm not going to get involved. I'm not getting involved. you know, or and I even stated that I'm the type of person that I'm a good observer, and I'm very good at actually predicting when something is about to happen, right? So if I'm in a situation in public and I see a male and a female arguing, and I see that there's a possibility where it can escalate to for the situation to become violent, I may call the police. But if I'm witnessing a situation where a male is literally beating the living crap out of a female, and I've seen situations like this. I'm speaking about situations that I've literally seen, right? And I mean, he's beating the living crap out of that female, and there is no fight in that female. Man, I'm going to have to step in and try to de-escalate that situation. Now, it might be a dangerous situation. I may lose my life over that. I understand that. Right? But damn, ain't no way as a person, as just me being a human being, can just sit back and stand and just watch just someone just getting pulverized like that and me not do something about it. And I gave that situation, but there were tons of people who disagree with me and had a difference of opinion, which is fine. That's fine. But then the issue, like I said before, is that, because the ones who had a difference of opinion, they were saying statements like, nah, you know what, I'm just going to call the police. I'm just going to mind my business. I'm not getting involved. It could be risky. Blah, blah, blah. Even though I understand those opinions, right? Even though I have an understanding of that opinion. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the question I asked earlier is, how can we say that men are leaders of a society where we refuse to do something as little as de-escalate a situation, a violent situation, that is? Because part of leadership is being able to bring about order within the society, right? And part of bringing order is knowing when to de-escalate certain situations. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even saying playing quote unquote Captain Save-A-Ho like people would think. Like a lot of people within the manosphere disagree with me or something like that, right? Because they think that, okay, if a female is getting beat by a male, you don't know what started this. She probably would have provoked the situation. And if you come and try and stop it, you're playing Captain Save-A-Ho, blah, blah, blah. They come from that standpoint. You're putting the cape on and playing Captain Save-A-Ho. So therefore, it's not worth saving the situation, getting involved. I would not even say saving the situation. They would say it's not worth getting involved in that, blah, blah, blah. You might lose your life, and you might lose your life over some dumbass female and all that. And to me, the way I look at it, like I said before, it's not even about, it's about de-escalating a hostile situation. Because if it was the other way around, I would do the same thing. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if there was a physical, there was a situation between a male and female, and it got physical, and the female got the best of that male and was beating the shit out of him, because there are some females out there that have the strength to beat up a grown-ass man, right? So, and if that adult male was getting the shit beat out of him, and he was getting pulverized, and there's no more fighting him, and that female was still beating his ass, I'm going to do the same thing and intervene and de-escalate that situation. There's nothing in me for me to just sit there and watch another human being get their asses beat like that and me not do anything about it. It's just not in me to do that. Call me stupid, call me a sucker, but that shit's just not in me. And once again, it goes back to the question, which is the title of the video. How can men be leaders, or how can we say that men are the leaders of society when we refuse to do something as simple as de-escalate a hostile situation? And when I was bringing something, and when I was speaking about it and giving my opinions on that type of situation on the specific panel last night, there were people in the comments section that was asking questions such as, well, why would you hang around to just watch a fight? One person asked that question. Why would you even sit around and hang around to even watch a fight? Stuff like that. So I responded back to that person that said, hey, listen, when it comes to a physical altercation, things escalate very quickly. It's not like you hanging around that specific area for 20, 25, 30 minutes and just watching the fight. No. Usually when there's certain things like that, it escalates pretty quickly and it happens at a snap of a finger. And then I read some comments, and the people in the comment section commenting saying that, well, that's why I don't hang around areas where there are fights. They said something in relation to that. I'm just paraphrasing what some people stated. They stated that they would not even put themselves in areas where there are fights and stuff like that. And when I read that comment, I'm like, okay, these people are pretty naive, because a fight can happen anywhere, even in an area that is considered a quote unquote safe environment. Even the place that is considered to be a very safe community or a very safe neighborhood, a fight can happen, or a physical altercation can happen. Things like that can happen anywhere. You could be in the supermarket and you see something like that happening. You know, you could do something as little as just going out and shopping for some food, and something like that happens. You know, you could be on your way to, let's say, Home Depot. You know, let's say that you had some things that you wanted to fix in your house, right? You had a project to do in your home. You want to put up a new fence or something. You know, you want to buy a new lawnmower to mow your lawn, you know, something like that. So you drop the Home Depot. You go into the Home Depot, something like that can happen. Like a physical altercation can happen anywhere. So it's not like that. It's not as if fights or physical altercation happens in one remote place. No. So it's not like I'm walking around and I'm literally hanging around places where there's no for quote unquote fights, because these things can happen anywhere. You know, it's like when okay, the problem with a lot of people on YouTube is that when they speak, whether they speak or when they type, they make statements that don't really make a lot of sense. You know, they make statements that don't make a lot of sense, because these statements don't really make sense as far as, well, why would you stand around in the area and watch a fight? Or why would you stand in the area where there is a fight? Or that's why I don't put myself in places where there are fights. I mean, when people make these statements, it's not to disrespect these people, but when I hear, or when I hear people make these types of statements, I recognize that these are people that don't really get that these situations can happen anywhere. And yes, de-escalating a violent situation or breaking up a fight is a dangerous thing. It is. It can be dangerous because you can risk losing your life. But like I said, that's what comes with leadership, as far as I know. I mean, even when it comes to establishing and maintaining order in a society, that itself can be dangerous. You know, and I'm the type of person, I don't recommend people to just sit there and just play quote unquote Captain Save a Hole or whatever you call it, right? Like I said, for example, sorry to repeat myself. If a male and female gets involved in a verbal altercation, if it's a verbal altercation, I don't recommend any other male to just intervene and try to stand up for the female and fight the male, saying that don't talk to a woman like that. No, no. If it's a verbal altercation and there is no violence taking place, no, don't get involved. Don't get involved. And if you see that a situation, a verbal situation, is about to escalate to become violent, grab your phone and call the police. But if it start getting violent, if the situation start getting violent, and one person within that situation have no more fight left in them, but they're still getting beat, they're still getting beat down and assaulted, it comes a matter of time where someone has to step in and stop the situation. All right, it's done. Oh, Doug said, what's up, Doug? Doug said this. Doug says, I've called the police on a couple fighting on the side of the highway. The woman was rather petite. They were fighting onto the highway. What the damn? I circled back after driving past them, but they were gone. God damn. Fighting on the side of a highway? Damn, that's crazy. Damn. Yeah. Yeah, you did the right thing, Doug. You called the police, but then, yeah, that's crazy. People fighting on the side of the highway. Damn. Well, they don't realize that, okay, you're in the highway. Cars are passing like what? Driving 50, 60 miles per hour? And you're going to fight in the middle of the highway? Not, well, I don't want to derail the topic. Yeah. So, yeah, depending on the situation, there are times where it's best to call the police. Well, technically speaking, when it comes to any type of altercations, whether it's physical or you think it's about to get physical, it's always best to call the police, right? It's always best. But if you see the situation is getting physical and someone's getting just their ass beat and the cops haven't arrived yet, what is wrong with stepping in and intervening and trying to stop the situation? Someone might say, well, it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous. You could get, okay, but once again, these are the same males who are stating that are the same males who was talking about that men are leaders of society. And I just don't get how we can say that we're leaders or we're supposed to be the leaders of society, but not do something that leaders do, which is maintaining order in society. And like I said before, part of maintaining order is knowing how to de-escalate a hostile situation. Right, Doug. Right. Right, Doug. Yeah, and I get that. Correct. I regard my own safety first, but I don't believe I'm built to just stand by and do absolutely nothing. Exactly. What's going on, Toya? What's going on, Pastor? Right. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm the same way. I regard my own safety, but at the same time, when it comes to certain situations, I can't just sit back and not do anything about it to try to at least de-escalate that situation. And when I was when I was in that live stream last night, and I spoke about that, and I spoke about the situation or a scenario where if I see a female getting assaulted, I'm not just going to sit by and not do anything about it. A lot of people who heard that automatically assume that I'm talking about just fighting that male, just going into that situation and trying to act as if I'm Superman and having a physical altercation with that male or jumping in and fighting. You know, people use the term, even some of the people who came onto that stream, when they misinterpreted what I was saying, they talking about, well, jumping in and fighting that person. And I never said anything like that. I said I'll just do my best to stop it. And stopping a violent situation doesn't always mean that you have to fight the individual or fight one of the individual. For example, like I said, I'll just bring a scenario where I'm out in public and I see a female being assaulted by a male. Stopping that situation does not always consist of you having to step in and fight that male. You can restrain that male. You can restrain that male. You can say, yo, chill. You got it, bro. You got it, bro. Because a lot of times when people are fighting, they're in the heat of the moment. And when they're in the heat of the moment, within that specific time, all logic goes out the door. And sometimes it takes an outside to intervene to place logic back into that person. What's up? What's up, handsome the guy? What's up? It's been a minute. Yo, handsome, we gotta link up, man. We gotta link up. It's been a minute. You said, what's good, Wacky? We want the title of leader without the sacrifice because it makes us feel good. Exactly. There is no leadership without some degree of responsibility. Thank you, handsome to God. Thank you. Exactly. Shalom, Lawrence. Shalom, Lawrence. Lawrence God said at Doug, shalom. Oh, he was speaking to Doug. He said, well said. I've had to train myself not to help, but I understand your point. Okay. Mike V says, why is violence the only scenario where black masculinity is measured in the community? Thank you, Mike V. Thank you. Excellent question, Mike. You know, people in so-called black America or just in the so-called black community or the lack thereof always assume that violence is a way to measure masculinity. You know, it's not, what about utilizing logic? Because that should be a form of measuring masculinity also, right? Because it is believed that the male gender is was built to be the more logical gender, while the female gender was built to be the more emotional gender. So is it utilizing logic and reason? measure masculinity. So sometimes you could just restore establishing order, like I said before, is a measure of masculinity, right? So, like going back to what I was saying, a lot of times when people are having a physical conflict, people are in the heat of the moment, and all logic goes out the door. And sometimes it takes an outsider to put logic back in the minds of people who are in that situation. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been in situations where I've been in fights and I was in the heat of the moment at that time. And it took someone on the outside to come in and just bring logic back into my mind and got me to stop doing what I was doing and the other person that I was fighting. So sometimes it takes an outside to stop a violent scenario or a violent altercation. Once again, how can we consider males to be leaders of a society, but we don't consider that part of leading a society is to sometimes step in and de-escalate a hostile situation? I don't get that. But back to Mike V's rhetorical question, right? I'm going to highlight it again. Yeah. It goes back to when people assume that me stating that I'm not going to just sit back and allow a female in public to keep being assaulted, it will be a matter of time until I have to step in and do something about it. And people interpret that as me utilizing violence to try to stop the situation, where you don't like you don't always need to utilize violence to try to de-escalate a situation. Do you mean to tell me that when it comes to breaking up a fight, that you always have to step in and fight someone to break up a fight? I mean, have we become that sort of society where we can't even break up a fight? That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, we're more likely now, the way I look at it, that we're more likely to grab our cell phones and sit back and record a fight instead of stepping in the fight and trying to break it up. That's crazy to me. And these were males, these were so called black males arguing with me about that point. Or I wouldn't say argue, but this, making these statements disagreeing with my position. But once again, it goes back to the question: how can men be leaders without understanding that part of leadership, what comes with leadership, is de escalating hostile situations? How can we say males are the leaders of society, but at the same time refuse to de escalate hostile situations? I don't get that. I don't get that. Anyhow, yeah, Lawrence. There are many variables, right? There are many variables. There are many variables. That's why I point some of these variables out, right? That's why I pointed some of these variables out. That's why I said, okay, if it's a if there's a situation where if it's a situation where like I said before, if there's a verbal altercation, then no, you leave that alone. If you see it's a verbal altercation that might escalate, yeah, you call the police. But like I said, if there's a situation where someone's just literally getting pulverized physically, getting beat physically, are you telling me that as men we're not going to step in and try to stop the situation? I'm just saying. Hold on for a minute. Let me close this window for a minute. Hold on. Yeah, man. I had my window open, and my neighbors was mowing the lawn, and the lawnmower was all loud and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not here. Okay, I'm gonna. I got the link. I got the link. Okay, so I posted the link to the stream in the comment section, just in case if anyone has something to say pertaining to what I just said, whether you agree or disagree. Okay, and Mike V, going back to your rhetorical question, Mike V. Okay, Lawrence, that's cool. That's cool, Lawrence. I feel you. Yo, what up, Shaka Nulu? What's going on? What's going on? I feel you. Lawrence said, "Shoot, I did my time to serve and protect." Now, Mike V, I'm rereading your rhetorical question, right? The first time that I read it, I interpreted it in one way, but now I'm rereading it, I'm interpreting a different way. So, Mike V, you could come, if you're still watching, you can click on the link and come on the stream and tell me what you mean by that question. Because are you asking that question in reference to the title of the video, or in reference to my just what I'm saying when I said that how could men be leaders when we won't do something as far as de-escalating a violent situation? Or are you asking that rhetorical question in reference to the story that I gave where people assume that I meant utilizing violence as a way to stop a person from being assaulted? Like, yeah. You know, I'm the type of person I could read a comment over and over again and interpret it in different ways. But Mike V, only you can make that clear if you don't mind clicking on the link and coming on the stream. Nobody's coming on? Okay, well. If no one's coming on, I guess I'll just end this stream. Oh, okay. What's up? What's up, Lawrence? Lawrence? Lawrence, I can't even hear you. Yeah, something was wrong with Lawrence's mic. Something. I couldn't hear him. Yeah. Okay, Lawrence, I see you backstage, Lawrence, but it says devices not connected. So, okay. All right. What's up? What's going on? I can't even hear you. Yeah, Lawrence, I can't hear you. Yeah, Lawrence, I can't hear you. So, yeah. Oh, Janadrin, you came in late. Lawrence, come back. You can come back. You got one last time to come back because, yeah, if your mic ain't working now, I'll just have to shut down this stream. because I'm done saying what I have to say. Hello, what's up?
All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Wacky?
Yeah, I can't even hear you, Lawrence. I can't hear you.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Audio.
Yeah, Lawrence, whatever's going on with your mic, I cannot hear you.
All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Wacky? Oh, right.
Oh, damn. I hear you on my, you know what? It's probably on my end because I'm on another device and I'm able to hear you on another device, but on my computer.
Can anybody hear me in the chat? Yeah, okay. New can hear me. Okay. All right. Um, I don't know if you can still hear me or not, Wacky. Okay, so Shaka Nulu can hear me, and okay, all right. So I was hearing you a second ago, Wacky, but then you're gone. I don't know what happened. Um, if you want, I can go out again and come back in, um, and see if that does it. I know you said it might be on your end, but I don't know what you're using or what you're doing. I know you said you're using another device, but so well, if everybody can hear me in the chat, I'm gonna jump out and I'm gonna try and come back in and see if that works one more time. Oh, wait. Okay. Wacky just vanished off the screen. Oh, okay, New. Thanks.
Yo, what's up?
There you go. Can you hear me?
Hold on, this gotta be wrong on my end. Yeah, it has to be my device.
Okay, because I can hear you, but you can't hear me. I can't. So I don't so I typed in the back chat and then the main chat, Wacky, so you could see what I'm saying. I don't know if you want me to get back out, you want me to hold on while you try something else or what. All right. All right. So I'm assuming Wacky's trying to start it again because he dropped off the screen. So we'll give him a minute. I hate dead space. But yeah, in the meantime, shalom to everybody in the chat. But I'm pretty sure there's some people I didn't catch by saying that. So shalom. Hope everybody's having a good day. I don't know. I wanted to say this with Wacky was up here. But it's interesting because I don't disagree with him. I don't disagree with him in the slightest. I understand. Oh wow, I'm echoing.
Yo, what's going on, man?
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. All right.
There we go. There we
go. Yeah.
I was just about to start talking about it. You pop back in.
Yeah.
But first of all, shalom.
Shalom, bro.
But what I had started to say when you jump back in, the interesting part is I absolutely agree with you. I really do. I have nothing at all to challenge the current perception and truth of what you're saying. If I had an issue, it's only in the sense that when I hear you talk, I hear you talking in my head, it comes across as if the world was as it should be, that's what it would be. But unfortunately, it's not. And I think that's my discomfort. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not like that. It's not that I disagree. It's just uncomfortable because, like I said earlier in the chat, my family's history goes back to the founding of this nation, whether it be military, cop, all the way up until today. Even some of the women, not many, because it's predominantly on the men, but we have women who served in the military, corrections officers, police officers, etc. This is what my family does. And I've served in the military. I've served as a special investigator to commissioner in New York. I've been a fugitive recovery and bail enforcement agent. I mean, this is what I do. This is what I know. Okay. So the natural instinct for me is to protect. It's just the foundation of my family. It's what we do. We serve and we protect. But we live in a world now where not only can you not do that at the risk of not just your safety, but your financial well-being, but also to the point that there's so many variables. And I apologize for earlier because I didn't hear that part. I must have came in after you said it. But there are so many variables nowadays that it makes it fundamentally impossible to do the right thing. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like I said, I agree 100%, but I have literally had to train myself not to get involved, which says a lot considering what I do and the family I come from. You know, I've stood there. I'm not gonna lie. I've stood there and let it happen. I really have, because I cannot take the risk. I can't take the risk of that dude turning around and taking me out, even though I'm not even trying to use violence. Just a conversation to get him to calm down, think it through. I can't run the risk of her turning around and attacking me because she thinks I'm attacking him after he just attacked her. I can't run the risk of trying to separate him because she'll swear I touched her the wrong way and then I got a case. I mean, it's just so much we have to contend with when we make that decision, when we make that choice. And it's hard because as a man of faith, that's just not how it's supposed to be, not how I'm supposed to be. but I got to be as peaceful as a dove, but wise as a serpent. You understand what I'm saying?
I get you. I get you.
I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
But no. I hear you. I hear you. It makes sense. It makes sense because there is a risk. There is a risk. And that's why I was agreeing with you when you said there are many variables. That's what, and I pointed some of these variables out. There is a risk and there are variables. So there is a proper time. Okay, there is a time and a place when to get involved, and there's a time and place not to get involved in these types of altercations, in my personal opinion. But given the case, but my thing when it like I said before, sorry to interrupt, but let's say it comes a point in time when someone is just literally getting physically just beaten down and beaten the hell up. And then the person that's beating them down seems as if they're not stopping. The way I look at it is there comes a point in time when someone has to step in and stop that situation from continuously happening.
Again, I agree. I'm just saying from my perspective right now, and I don't know how widespread that is among other men, but from my perspective right now, that's going to be a hard pass for me.
Okay.
And I think that's a lot of people. I think that's why it goes back to what you said earlier. They're quicker to pull out their camera to record it, so that when the police get here, they can arrest the person, find the person, 6 out for a dozen. I think we've gotten to the point that people have been so pushed back because every time you see someone making some level of assistance, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I mean, just like the guy who stopped to help a woman change her tire, and then 24 hours later, the police are handcuffing him and he's in jail because she's claiming he sexually assaulted her. And they believed her just because she said so, no proof, no nothing. And if it wasn't for the fact that there were cameras around that gas station, he'd be up the river. And you keep getting stories like that over and over and over again. A girl who was drowning got rescued by the paramedics. She wants to sue him for sexual assault, for trying to save her life.
So I'll take that situation.
Yeah.
A girl got drowned. She was drowning.
Mm-hmm.
So the paramedics came to save her. Now she wants to sue the paramedics for assault.
He gave her mouth to mouth to resuscitate her the whole 9 yards.
Are we to say, okay, but let me say this, Lawrence. Are we to say because of that situation, because that is a very rare incident in which someone who drowns or who was drowning and someone saved them, now they want to press charge on the person that saved them, right? For the most part. Go ahead. What were you saying? Because that's what you just said. That's what you just said. I said that.
No, I did say that. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I'm not trying to say that should be one instance and suddenly everybody stops attempting to help.
That's what I was asking. Oh, go ahead.
What I'm saying is that it's a growing thing. That every time, especially with men, every time a man attempts to help a woman in distress, it ends up being that way. And those cases are growing exponentially per year. So at least where women are concerned, I can understand why men are a little leery. Like I said, that thing with the dude with the tire was just like 2-3 years ago. And like I said, there's been more cases like that. And that's a fundamental thing of us as men. I mean, a woman's in distress, she need a tire change. That's a dude thing. That's what we do.
And see, the thing is with me, it could be a female in distress or a male in distress.
That's correct.
I'm going to come in and intervene. So I'm going to come in and intervene regardless. So it's not even just the fact that, even though on the stream that I was on last night, I was given a scenario if a female is being physically assaulted. But the thing is that at the end of the day, in certain situations, someone's going to have to step in and stop or de-escalate the situation.
Yes.
Because a lot of times police arrives after the situation is all said and done.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you 100%, brother. I really do. I'm not just saying that to say it.
And I'm not denying the fact that it's a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Because I even said it is a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
There are things you are risking.
Yeah. It's just for me personally. I've seen it too much. I've dealt with it too much on my own. I've had other people that are close to me who've had to go through that as well. And I don't know, man. I look, I'm completely open to saying my decision is wrong, but I just tapped out. I'm being honest. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. Like I said, I've known people personally. I've seen news reports time and time again. I've had it done twice to me. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and maybe I'm jaded. That would be fair. I couldn't deny that. Maybe I'm jaded, but I think after all this time, with everything that's been said about us as a society, about us as men, etc., and so on, I'm kind of like in that Jack Nicholson phase from A Few Good Men. You don't get you don't get to question me and dog me out under the blanket of the very protection I provide you. I just can't do it anymore. I can't.
But I get what you're saying, but just imagine. So basically, we've become a society where we're just too afraid to help someone.
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, and that's very dangerous.
Yes, it is.
That's very dangerous. Now, Lawrence, I'm not saying you're wrong when it comes to what someone may risk, especially in today's time. But the thing is, the outcome overall is a very bad outcome.
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely. Because once again, we're talking about now where people are just afraid of just stopping something bad from happening because we're afraid of what's going to happen to us.
Well, you got to understand, everything's been inverted, because you got to understand, okay, you have a society where you have, and I'm not trying to make it a gender thing, but I'm just breaking it down. You have a society where there's a particular gender that can do anything and everything without consequences. However, the other gender who attempts to help suffers from consequences for the help. I mean, that's just not to be rude, but that's ass backwards.
No, it is ass backwards, but But then once again, the end result is that we're going to end up in a more ass backwards society. Ass backwards society. So I'm looking at all the way. I get what you're saying, but then I'm looking at the total end result of that.
Well, yeah, the end result is we're screwed,
and that's the problem. And that's the problem. It's like now it'll become a time when someone in the street is, it's like, for example, I've seen videos, and these videos were just mock reenactments where people are pretending to be a kidnapper, right? You have a child that's walking down the street. Now it's they're just acting, but they're doing these types of things just to test to see the reaction of other people in society, where a child or a teenager is walking in the busy street and someone plays a kidnapper, grabs the person, pick up the person, and runs away. And everyone else that's walking in this busy street does nothing about it.
I know. I've seen those.
That's what I'm saying. This is what we've become.
No, look,
this is like what we've become. And at the same time, we can't speak, because we have people in this space who speaks about leadership, right? And I'm saying we can't talk about us being leaders and not stepping in when these situations happen. That's what I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing. And I'll make a point from my perspective, and I'll make a point from what you just stated. The point from my perspective, and one of the reasons why even though I am the way I am, I agree with you so wholeheartedly, is because for those of us who have daughters, for those of us who are grandparents, and I fit into both of those categories, to know that my child could be out somewhere and something could happen and society will not lift a finger to assist them is terrifying. I mean, like I said, even though I'm one of those people who claim to be that, it's a terrifying prospect. Now, going over to what you said a moment ago about leadership, well, here's the power and strength in what you said. If I could sum it up, we can't have leaders who don't have the strength or courage of their conviction to act. Does that make sense?
At times, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm speaking in the sense of the space.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like I said, I mean, I get what you're saying. I
get what you're saying also.
Yeah, I really hope that if that moment comes and I'm in that situation where it really gets like the level you're talking about, that I would act. I would really like to believe I could. But I got to be honest right now where I'm at. And this is a bad thing for me to say, but I got to call it for what it is.
I mean, just be honest. I mean, it's just you being honest. So
I'm emotionally compromised. Let's call it for what it is. Right now at this time where this is concerned, I'm emotionally compromised, and I would just as soon turn and walk away. And you know me, I'm always going to be upfront about that. If I'm emotionally compromised, I'm emotionally compromised.
Right.
And where this particular subject is concerned, from all the things that I've seen, from all the things I've watched, from all the things that I've been through, as much as I try to use logic as humanly possible, from an emotional perspective, I cannot risk myself. I just can't. And like I said, I know it's not the logical manly frame, but that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. I'm emotionally compromised on
it. Okay. Damn.
I can't see like I said, I've known people who've been through it. I've been through it twice. I mean, like just over, I got in trouble in corporate one time because this one girl went out for a walk around the block, which happened to be the same time I went out for a walk. And she came back and said I was stalking her. And that blew up into a full-on 6-month investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I have literally been in a situation where I have pulled somebody out of harm's way from getting hit by a car. And she immediately turned around, smacked me so hard, my glasses flew off my face and broke. Even though there were witnesses, she called the police and they still arrested me. This is after pulling her out of the way of a speeding car because she wasn't paying attention to crossing the street.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, so when I say I'm emotionally compromised, it's not just a catchphrase. I get you. You feel what I'm saying? And like I said, I've got cousins, I've got military friends, etc., and so on. I've seen this play out. I mean, I have. So it's like last year. I'm at the library, man. Woman walking in front of me, trips, falls, paperwork falls over everywhere. Her books, everything. She looks up at me to help. I literally stepped over her. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I can't continue to be diminished. I can't continue to be told I'm unimportant and etc. and so on, except when it's for me to sacrifice my life for you or put my life on the line for you. I can't do that anymore. And that's for men and women. I mean, across the board. It's the same argument I've had with my commanders, past and present. If something's going on in another country, then before you call me and my boys to come over there and sacrifice ourselves, I suggest you put your people on the line first. You understand what I'm saying? I I can't do it anymore. I just I cannot, and I think that's what it really comes down to. I think it's the disheartening aspect that even if you did, and whether it worked out good or bad, it's thankless. Because somehow, some way, someone's going to make it about you being a vile person. And we have to be honest that generally speaking, when we're talking about breaking up the type of stuff that you and I are talking about, the people who go do that are men. We have to be honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
And the women will stand by waiting for one of us to act. We will act. And somehow, some way, either the person we were helping, the person who was attacking them, or the people who were watching are going to find some way to turn it around and make us the bad guy. And that's not an exception anymore. That's a rule now.
Well, I don't know if that's a rule. If that's because if we're gonna say that's a rule, we're gonna say that happens more than 50% of the time when someone tries to de-escalate a situation. That's what I'm saying. Okay, when these things happen, do we say, okay, when these things happen,
mm-hmm.
and Lawrence, these things do happen, where when a person being a good Samaritan,
right,
is now seen as the bad guy, as the villain in a situation, right? But do we say in these situations that now nobody should play the good Samaritan anymore? That when we see people being attacked and assaulted in public, we should just let that shit fly?
No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying, however, is I'm
not saying you say. I'm just saying. Okay, what I'm saying is that do we all, as a society, as a society, just think that way from now on? Then,
no, so I don't think we should. No, but in all honesty, that's what it's becoming.
And that's bad.
Yeah. Again,
and that's fucked up.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's fucked up. And yes, you do have those, what you saw, these incidents where the bad apples ruined the whole bunch, but at the same time, are we going to say that when we see the apples ruin the whole bunch, are we just going to sit there and allow the good apples to be ruined and just abandon the whole basket altogether?
No, I mean, from a practical point of view, no, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, it's one of these. It's one of these kind of stuck between a hard rock and a hard place, stuck between a rock and a hard place type scenarios, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place scenarios, yeah. Because what you brought up and some of the points that the other brothers brought up when I was on that live stream last night were valid points, and your points are valid. Yes, there are risks. And there are situations where, like I said before, and like you were pointing out, where the Good Samaritan is seen as a villain and is now being attacked. So damn, this society is just becoming too damn fucked up. Because you see, in a way, we've become socialized to become totally apathetic.
That is correct. What the interesting part is the apathy thing actually started, I would say, late 90s.
Yeah.
Because I mean, because the last two visceral moments we had was, of course, Katrina, and before that was Rodney King.
Yes.
And what people don't remember is that in between that space of those two, not too long, like not too many years after Rodney, there was a young brother who was grabbed by two white guys, chained to the back of a truck and dragged through Texas. If I remember, I might be remembering it wrong, but I think that's the story.
Yeah, that happened in Texas. I think Houston. I think Houston or something.
Yeah, something like that. And if you realize there was no response, you didn't get with them what you got with Rodney King or anything like that. So and as you've seen as time goes on, it's not even just apathy; it's voyeurism, because that's where the cameras come in.
Yeah.
everybody's quick to pull out that camera and start recording. And, I've heard people in the beginning, well, I just want to keep everything for full transparency so the police can see this, that, and et cetera, and so on, and yada, yada, yada. And at first I was like you. I was like, yeah, okay, but that don't mean nothing. The person's dead. You could have stopped it instead of 15 seconds of recording. But I was just like you. But like I said, as time has gone on and the things that I've gone through and I've seen, I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah. But a lot of people, when they record these like violent situations, they're not doing that to, save evidence for the police. They're doing that to upload that on the internet because they think it's entertaining.
And to go viral and get paid. Yeah.
Absolutely. And go viral and get paid. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But like I said, I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. I mean, I don't want it to be this way, but it is this way. And no offense to anybody, but I'm not trying to go biblical, but I'm just making out a point between myself and Wacky. Dude, Revelation said this was coming, bro. So
yeah.
I mean, this because I had that conversation with Hulk like a week or two ago on one of his streams with somebody. I was like, okay, so what are you getting upset about? It's like, yeah, but you seem to be like too mellow about it. It's not that I'm mellow, man. These things must be. He said so. So, I mean, I'm not one to argue the plan. So I just got to go along, keep my head down and do what I got to do. But this is, but whether it's scripturally or whether it's secularly, we have history to show that this happens, and it's not going to change until it gets bad, because we all know feminism cannot exist unless it's in a society that's doing well. You know what I mean? Feminism doesn't work in third world countries. Yes, so so I mean, either way, it's a matter of time. Either way you look at it, it's a matter of time. But like I said, dude, I agree with you 100%, brother. I really do. I really, really do. And like I said, I as a man of faith, it bothers me that I feel this way myself, because I'm not supposed to be like this. For whatever reason we want to, dance around, but I shouldn't be this way. And like I said, for somebody who spent his entire life serving, doing all that and protecting, like I said earlier, I can't remember who I was talking to, but I had to teach myself not to go help, and that was a painful thing for me, because like I said, that's not my character. That's not how I'm built. That's not what I'm trained for. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, from military to investigator to fugitive recovery agent, everything else in between, I'm trained to run towards it, not away from it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like my boys I grew up with too, Rodney Gillis and Daniel Stanton, two of the officers that were in the towers that came down in 9/11. Grew up with them dudes.
Oh, okay, damn.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we're trained to do. You know what I'm saying? We're not trained to turn away. So yeah, I like I said, that's why I'm freely admitting with no shame, because like I said, as men we talk honestly about it. I know where I'm at right now with it. It's an emotional thing, not a logical thing. I'm in my feelings right now, and my feelings are pretty hurt, and I'm pretty annoyed, and I don't want to be bothered, and I'm tired of being put on the hook. I'm being honest about it. Yeah, make fun of me all you want to, but I'm being honest about it.
Right. I mean, hey, be honest. But but I'm just saying, it's like, but damn, it's like now in society we've become conditioned to either, if we're not apathetic towards a person being in this type of situation, we might lose our lives. So it's like, be apathetic and save our lives, or be empathetic and risk losing our lives.
And like
it's like, damn, that ultimately that's not a good thing. Ultimately, it's a terrible thing. But at the same time, people in this space shouldn't be talking about leadership if they're not willing to try to de-escalate situations like these.
That's correct.
That's part of leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I brought up my daughters and my grandchildren.
Yeah.
Look, if they're out there, something happens and nobody does anything for them, It would
Yeah,
break
yeah.
my heart. It would break my heart. But considering how I'm sitting here talking right now, I couldn't blame them.
Mm,
And I know that's a hard thing for people to hear. I know that's a hard thing for people to understand. But I get it.
mm,
I mean,
mm,
I get it. I really
mm.
get it. I mean, and like I said, that's a painful thing to have to admit out loud.
It is a painful thing because, because like I said, I do get that being a, yeah. So it's like it's one of these stuck between a rock and a hard place. But the thing is that when it comes to certain situations where people being assaulted, it's like, nah, man. I'm the type of person I have to do something, and it has nothing to do with whether a person's a male or female or not, because it could be a person of any gender.
Right, exactly. Yeah, any gender,
It
any
could
color,
be
doesn't matter.
any
Yeah,
gender, any
yeah,
gender.
yeah, any gender, any color, any race, none of that matters, man. I dude,
Yeah,
like I said, that was my job. I get it.
yeah,
There was
yeah,
there was no prerequisite to it. The job was the job.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So,
yeah.
I don't care who's in the building. Somebody's in the building. We got to get them out. That was the end goal of
Hmm.
all of it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
I get you. That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
I said right in the beginning. I understand 100% where you're coming from. I was that person.
Right,
That was
right, right.
that
But
was
but
being that
yeah,
person.
but large, hold on, large, because I do have to go
Oh, I'm
because I
sorry.
do have to end it.
I'm sorry.
So, you could give me your final thoughts, and I'll end this stream
No,
afterwards.
no, 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 no,
What do you?
no. I got nothing, brother. You got to go. Just end it. I'm good.
Oh, oh, you're all right. I mean, you was in the middle of saying something. I sort of
Ah,
interrupted you.
dude, I'm just rambling. Go on, bro.
All right, man. Thank you, because yeah, I have to get up. I have to get up and get the hell out of here.
All
you
right.
know.
Go ahead, bro. Shalom,
Yeah.
bro.
All right. Shalom, shalom, Lawrence. Nice speaking with you, man.
All right,
All
pleasure.
right. All right. Peace. 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 Yeah, man. But yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I get where Lawrence guy is coming from. I get it. When you're in a scenario where you see someone being assaulted, especially a female, it is risky for one to intervene. It is risky, but at the same time, it's very dangerous to not intervene and trying to stop the situation from continuing to happen and to let it continue to happen. It's like that to me, that's even more dangerous. That's even more dangerous. The latter. It's so easy for someone to say, well, just mind your business and don't get involved in other people's situation. But ultimately, like I was telling Lawrence Guy, what happens if we become a society where everyone just quote unquote minds their own business? And when they see a hostile situation going on, they should not do something, turn the other cheek, and walk the other way. When we do that, the only people who wins in that scenario are the people who is victimizing someone else. I'm not upset, Janadrian. I'm not upset. You said you're not trying to get me upset. I'm not upset. I mean, I see your opinion. People are all free to have their own opinion. And if we agree to disagree, that's fine. But I'm looking at the end result of us living in a society where no one steps in to trying to stop a hostile situation from continuing to happen. To me, that's an even more dangerous situation. And like I said, a victim in a hostile situation could be a male or a female. It is still dangerous as a society if we all just have a mentality of minding our own business, not try to intervene, turn around and walk in the other way. That's my opinion. All right, man, but I do have to go. This has been an interesting conversation. The reason why I said especially a female is because my whole point was to speak about my whole point was in last night's stream, we were speaking about the things that we would or wouldn't do for a female. And the thing is, a lot of people in this space, they have this thing where if they see a female being assaulted, they're not going to do nothing. So yeah, I put emphasis on that, a female, but in the grand scheme of things, even if a male or a female is being assaulted, it's still right to step in and try to de-escalate the situation. But once again, when I said especially a female, I'm just putting emphasis on that because, again, a lot of people in this space have a different viewpoint when it comes to what they would do if they see a male assaulting a female. That's it. But don't get it twisted to assume that I think otherwise when it comes to a male being a victim of being of assault. But we're headed to a very dangerous. Nah, it's nothing wrong with asking. You got the right to ask the question. There's nothing wrong with asking. But I think that with the thinking that people have, and it's not to disrespect someone who have a different viewpoint than I do, but I think it is very dangerous as a society where we just think, where we just believe that we shouldn't get involved in certain hostile situations. I think ultimately that's very dangerous if we live in a society like that, where if we're walking down the street and we just see someone just being assaulted, pounded, beaten, and everyone around that individual who outnumbers the individual that's doing the beating and who have enough numbers to at least restrain that individual and stop the shit from happening, not do anything about it, but just sit back and watch. To me, that's a very, very dangerous thing. And societies headed towards that path That is if we're not already in that path, if you know what I mean. But anyhow, this is an interesting conversation. Interesting. And you know, the thing is that those who argue from whichever side of that position when it comes to whether or not you intervene if a person being assaulted. So from whichever side that you're arguing from, right? Whichever side of the argument, whether you will intervene or you won't, the fact of the matter is both sides have good points. But like I said, it's one of those, stuck between a rock and a hard place type of scenarios, right? But at the end of the day, even though these type of situations is risky, even though it's one of those once again, it's one of those stuck in between a rock and a hard place type of scenarios. But as men, if we're talking about leadership, part of being a leader, I'm not saying that comes in, I'm not saying that's the only thing that it takes to be leaders, but part of being leaders is that we have to know how to de-escalate these types of situations. Now, of course, common sense, there's other things that comes into when it comes to, there's other things that comes with leadership. But de-escalating hostile situations is one of them. What if they're trying to set you up? I mean, to me, is that even possible? It's like, okay, you'll beat my ass. It's like, okay, two people come together and have a plan and say, okay, you'll beat my ass in front of this individual, for we can both set this individual up. Now, if a person is in a position or choose to put themselves in a position where they'll get their asses beat by someone else in order to set up another person, then it's either A, that other person must have done something real fucked up to someone else, or the person who accepts getting their asses beat got paid some good amount of money to do that, get their ass beat to set somebody up. No, that is a rare thing. That is a rare thing. Two people assaulting some. Okay. One person assaulting another individual, and the purpose of both of them doing that is to set someone else up. That is rare. But anyhow, I gotta bounce, man. I gotta bounce. All right, peace.